Welcome to the Functional and Non-Functional Requirements Table video. This video looks at examples of two tables. Now these tables were derived from your features list. So this is the first case of a form of symmetry. So let's just explain what symmetry is, which is aligned directly to cross-referencing through your research and in your thesis. So symmetry of this kind is a symmetry of developing a features list and then reusing it a bit later on and augmenting it. So functional and non-functional requirements tables are an extension of features list. They're an extension to add three important items, and I'll show you these on the next page. The first thing to mention is these sets of deliverables that we've been talking about before in the previous videos. The features list, the context diagram and the use case diagram are all deliverables for your thesis. So the rationale for doing these in your logbook and drawing them up in and by hand, probably in pencil in your logbook, is to get you used to using the methodology. Now some of these you should have learnt the theory in your software engineering in your second year, but you might not understand that each diagram again is used to stress and build your namespace comprehension. Each diagram uses different namespaces. Each diagram develops new names and namespaces for different components, attributes, actors of the project. So what is a functional and non-functional requirements table? Well, it takes the features list and turns it into more precise, correct English language statement as a description. On this page you can see two explanations or links to some information about this topic. So let's go and have a look at the functional requirements table. Now, what's the difference between this and a features list? Well, a features list is not ordered in this manner. A features list doesn't have and cannot be referenced nominally by simple FR1 or FR 3.1. So what are these things on the left in this column? Well, they're citation, cross-referencing, nomenclature and short forms. This says functional requirement 1 is this, and a description is given. And then functional requirement 2 is this. So let's now look, and hopefully you'll realize that there's some important naming conventions and information in this list. I'm just going to give you some hints about the grammar used here. A means to enable, abstraction of, storage of, a means to, a means to, utilization of means to, utilization means to, monitoring user, monitoring, storage of, implementation. So you're seeing there's some keywords here that tell you and relate to what they're doing. A method for doing something or storing something or enabling something to happen. So what are these last two columns then? Well, they're very important. One might be added by some students if they're aware of this type of methodology or sequencing through the requirements, and that is the risk level for this requirement. So this is the risk, and hopefully you can do some research on this and look at risk analysis. Maybe the simplest way to look at this is the highest risk functional requirement might be the first item to prototype. Let's move on to this column here, the priority. Priority is different to risk. Risk is without this item, function maybe, the artifact will not function, will not work. Whereas priority says maybe these should be done in this order and given them a ranking. So they're two different things. Combined, you're looking at two different views of the requirements. So this table itself is a very good table to work for. We're going to use it and cross-reference into it when we build a prototype table, which you'll need in the future to develop your artifacts using Agile and Extreme Programming. So let's look at the non-functional requirement table. Now you can see some other attributes that are needed. Again, they've got the short forms, this time NR1, and they've got risk and priority. So that's the requirements table. So hopefully you should be able to start building those now. And remember, they're going to be evolved, so you might think, oh, I'm going to evolve it and I'm not sure how to do it. Well, call it version 1, then we can look at it, we can make some design decisions, and as your project evolves, the number of requirement items will actually be augmented. So thank you for listening to this video on functional and non-functional requirement tables.